here with Dr. Miles and Jody to continue our series on People's Rising Academy, what it is, and how they can help you. So welcome back to North Dakota Today.
Good morning.
Yeah, good to see you guys again.
Yes.
If I could do anything on a Monday, it's spend it with you guys. So. Now, Dr. Miles, last week you had discussed what chronic pain is and how that can become a lifelong condition for people. I know people in my own life with chronic pain, and one thing that I see them frustrated about is they keep going to different doctors for treatment, they keep trying different things, and it's something they have a challenge resolving. So what is it that People's Rising Academy does that is different maybe than the things they've tried in the past?
Yeah, so what we do is we set the foundation straight first. So let's just say you were a new patient coming into People's Rising Academy, and we found some issues, and we were going to address those issues. But while we're addressing, let's just say, some of your physical issues or some of your mobility issues, we're going to be focusing on the dietary aspect underlying. So typically, if you would come into People's Rising, we'd run some lab work on you, and we'd start you on a elimination diet, a blood sugar diet, or even an intermittent fasting, kind of depending on what you need to do. And then we wait for those labs to come back in, and then we modify based on that. So we're kind of like I was on the market board last week, is we're trying to find, is there an underlying anemia? Is there an underlying autoimmunity? Is there inflammation? Is there a blood sugar imbalance? Are these things sitting there and just kind of bringing you to that threshold where you start feeling pain all the time? And that's what you get with chronic pain. And I think that's the biggest thing we do at People's Rising is we really try to set the stage for our successful treatment after that. And that starts with diet and removal of bad foods and the introduction of good food strategies and good eating strategies. So that's kind of how we address it on the bottom level. And then as we build in, so something like chronic pain, there's usually an identifiable condition like low back pain, neck pain, migraines, and then something like fibromyalgia where there's really no identifiable issue. It's just pain everywhere. So that's where the treatment changes. And I am a chiropractor. One thing we do is we like to get joints moving, and then we like to kind of layer on top of those moving joints now exercise and stretches that can help get those things moving and try to reduce pain and get people out of their fear avoidance maneuvers that they are doing, and fear avoidance, I don't know, habits that they developed over the last 10 years. That's how we kind of address that. And then again, as we work through it, we're continually modifying the diet. We might add in some supplements here. We might add in a referral to an MD or somewhere else in the mix. And we're trying to just to piece this together as we kind of rise up to getting to you where you need to go.
So is it fair to say that People's Rising Academy takes kind of a more holistic view of the situation, whereas say if you have chronic pain, it might be common that you have your primary doctor, and then they send you to the pain clinic, and then they send you to a chiropractor, and then they send you to, physical therapy, and all these different people are doing things, but they're not necessarily communicating. Whereas you can kind of see the whole process and say, okay, we're going to do this here and this and this, put it all together.
Right, and that kind of just to piggyback on what you said is usually there's pain, so the pain is avoided, then they go into their primary care provider, and they might be given some pain medication for short term. They might be given some antidepressants, which can act as, antidepressants or help mask pain, stuff like that. But it usually ends with, people going into some surgery that they shouldn't get, and it really ends up really screwing up the situation. And that's where chronic pain then becomes, even way more chronic, because now you've introduced, a surgery to the area. It didn't work. Now in your brain you think nothing can fix me. And that's where the chronic pain and fibromyalgia doesn't only become physical, it also kind of transcends into your head, kind of like a fire. And now everything is hot. We don't know what's pain. We don't know if it's real. Everything hurts. And that's kind of the journey that most people go on, I should say, before they end up at People's Rising.
So it sounds like what you do is very life-changing, but you can't do it on your own. You obviously need support from other people. So Jody, can you tell us kind of what you do? How does it facilitate him doing his best work?
Well, I'm out on the sector and kind of more the marketing and visiting with people about just my life change and everything I went through. And, sometimes it resonates with them. We're like, oh, gee, maybe you could help me too. So I just deal with a lot of the applications, getting those to him, and then he decides who would be a good candidate.
So you're the facilitator, you get the awareness out there, and you need that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be the best at what you do, but if nobody knows about it, right? So what you do is also incredibly valuable. So thank you to both of you. We really appreciate it, rather. Now, stay with us. After the break, Jody is going to share a little bit more about the process, her work experience with Dr. Miles. So stick around. We will be back in 2 minutes.